Hello, third graders. Welcome to our new lesson on our classification of animals. Today, we're going to dive into a new group. But before we do that, let's go ahead and review what we learned about birds. So let's pretend we have a friend who is trying to tell us that an ostrich is not a bird because it cannot fly. What would you say to your friend to convince them that a bird or an ostrich is in fact a bird? Take a moment and think about that. Well, you could tell your friend that an ostrich is warm-blooded and birds are warm-blooded, meaning their temperature is constant. You could tell your friend that they have feathers and scales on their legs. You could tell your friend they have two wings. Or how about that it makes nests and lays eggs? Maybe even that it has 2 feet. All of those things are convincing of a bird because that is the classification requirements. A bird does not have to fly in order for it to be a bird. So yes, an ostrich is a bird, just can't fly. All right, let's dive into our next animal group, mammals. Grab your reading classification packet and open it up to page 64 so you can follow along and learn about mammals with me today. All right, here are some pictures of some mammals. We've got a cat, a cow, an elephant, and a blue whale. So let's dive in to find out how all of these animals qualify as mammals. Mammals. Cats, mice, cows, elephants, whales, and even people belong to a class of vertebrates called mammals. Mammals are warm-blooded animals. Most mammals live on land. They breathe oxygen from the air using their lungs. Whales are one kind of mammal that lives in the ocean. Whales need air, so they have to come to the surface to breathe. All right, so let's break this down a little bit. Mammals are vertebrates, meaning we have a backbone. They live mostly on land. There are a few mammals that live in the oceans. They breathe oxygen from their lungs, which means we need air. Most, but not all mammals are terrestrial, as I was just telling you. Whales and dolphins are two examples of mammals that are aquatic, meaning they live in the water. The blue whale, which we had just looked at on the previous page, is not only the largest mammal, but it's the largest animal on Earth. Blue whales can grow up to be 100 feet long. That's a little longer than a basketball court. Its tongue alone weighs more than 3 tons. That's pretty crazy. Its tongue. Here are some examples of the aquatic mammals. Manatees, which we know here, and smaller whales such as dolphins and porpoises are also aquatic mammals. They are warm-blooded, meaning their temperature stays the same. They have backbones and hair or fur, even though sometimes it's a teeny tiny amount of hair, and they breathe oxygen from the air. All mammals, including whales and porpoises, dolphins and manatees, have to come to the surface of the water to breathe. So dolphins, as we know, have a blowhole. Manatees come up and stick their snout out in order to breathe oxygen with their lungs. Some mammals, like these here, are what we call semi-aquatic. Semi means partly aquatic or partly in the water. They partly live in the land or water, like a hippopotamus or a walrus or a seal. These animals, like a walrus and seal, will go to shore sometimes. Even a beaver who likes to live in fresh water is called semi-aquatic, meaning they can live in the water and the land. But they all breathe oxygen, which means they need to come up for air. All mammals have hair or fur. Look at this little elephant's hair up here. Hair or fur protects the mammal and keeps it warm. Some mammals, like lions, have a lot of fur. Other mammals, like dolphins and whales, have just a few little hairs on their body. Some mammals have lots of hair when they are young, like this elephant, and then they lose some of their hair as they grow up. Some mammals are hairier than others. A hippopotamus has a little bit of hair around his mouth and then the tips of his ears and his tail. Look at this hippo. He's got a little bit of hair here, a little bit on the tips, and then not much elsewhere. Another important characteristic of mammals is that they give birth to live babies, not in an egg. The mother carries the baby or babies inside her body until it's time to be born. The mother feeds her babies milk until they're strong enough to find food on their own. Look at these little puppies. Aren't they so cute? I know. Here is a mother kitten feeding her baby, mother cat feeding her baby kittens. You might be surprised to learn that bats are also mammals. Bats fly like birds, but they do not have the other characteristic that birds have. Bats have hair, not feathers. Their arms, which are these, have bat-like or wing-like flaps of skin, but they are not bird wings. They are not covered in feathers. Bats also give birth to live young and they produce milk. So they are qualified or classified as mammals. They have that fine fur again, no feathers, and give live birth to babies. Here is another picture of a bat. And these are its arms. You can see its hair here. This is flaps of skin. So let's just review our major characteristics of mammals. They are warm-blooded, meaning their temperature stays the same. They have hair or fur, and they feed their young milk. They also give birth to live babies. All right, I will see you again for another lesson on animals soon.